And now we head over to Skeet for MS John Berry, pushing onto Unicorn Phoenix. Jordan, of course, we've had a bit of a break between Game 1 and Game 2, but these guys have not really had a break in these games at all. Really, from the start of Game 1, now even over to Game 2, they don't know. Hungbo Ditch should get the double. Didn't quite get the first one, though. When you don't get the first one, you're not going to get any of them. He gets knocked down. So did Jalman, now Rogue 2. Julio and Skeet, the last two up for John Berry. The road. There's already teams like Easy Esports, 36 Cartel to a degree Sharper that are able to maybe sort of cut them off here. BN United actually going to get pushed here from Made in Thailand. Thanawat pushes up first. Duckman's Escalusia able to now come in from behind along with Jacob. Now I think they actually have maybe caught BN United by surprise because they were just getting ready to leave Power Grid. They've caught them perfectly here, Made in Thailand. You can see BN United kind of separated, not necessarily all close to each other. If someone gets knocked, they're probably going to die. For Made in Thailand, do have to be careful of these nades though, as they all grouped up together. They've good tags from Insight. As Belmoth is tagged low, 6 sacks goes down, courtesy of Flood. This makes it very doable. Maximus and T-Noi, they're not exactly full health, and Fury definitely feeling it right now.
Yeah, they certainly are. I mean, if Insight gets that knock on the rotation across that big cross, then maybe there was a really good chance, but Flood is just doing it himself. He's a one-man army. 2 knocks, 2 kills. There's another one. Fury might win a 2-on-4.
Belmoth now in a 1 versus 2. How the tides have turned here.
Didn't even get to cross.
And now we head over to Skeet for MS John Berry, pushing onto Unicorn Phoenix. Jordan, of course, we've had a bit of a break between Game 1 and Game 2, but these guys have not really had a break in these games at all. Really, from the start of Game 1, now even over to Game 2, they don't know. Hungbo Ditch should get the double. Didn't quite get the first one, though. When you don't get the first one, you're not going to get any of them. He gets knocked down. So did Jalman, now Rogue 2. Julio and Skeet, the last two up for John Berry.
Oh, great covering fire coming through from the rest of Unicorn Phoenix. MS John Berry, they have bitten off more than they could chew. And that is not what they were hoping to do walking into that compound. I mean, Unicorn Phoenix, they...
One of my new favorites after having a bit of a chat with him is Disgusting from Game Home, landing a few tags here on Archangel Predator. We are now seconds away from getting phase 2. Nothing too crazy, straight on top of San Martin, Jordan. And I guess in a nutshell, whenever we get these sort of city finishes in Miramar, it does create this sort of bubble effect in the middle portion of the game. Everything's a little bit quite slow, but then good luck in the final couple of phases when you've got like 6 to 8 teams inside of San Martin and then the teams that are outside on the edge of the city.
And then you're very much at the mercy of the circle, aren't you? If you're outside and it goes in, you're in trouble. If you're inside and it goes out, then you're in trouble. If it's half and half, then kind of everyone's up the creek without a paddle. There's a lot going on when it comes to circles that do a bad little run-in. But aside from that, you know, only a couple of players dropping here and there.
Yeah, and surprisingly, we're already heading into phase 3. A very quiet phase 2, of course, courtesy of the circle. And we are actually going to get a southern shift slightly to the west as well. Perfect for BN United. They don't have to move from Power Grid, at least for the time being. It does kind of maybe force the issue here for Sharper Esports. 6 Axe already knocked down as well. They need to get the revive. Then they need to make a decision. Do they push on the Power Grid? Do they rotate away, maybe down to the south? If they do that, then they're going to run into attack all around. Speaking of Sharper Esport, I kind of got high expectations for the Thai team here in this stage. This is their 3rd PCS event in a row now. In PCS3, they finished 6th. In PCS4, they finished 6th as well. Can they get a top 5 finish? They've got such a talented roster, and with no Buriram United, a couple of other top teams not quite here, I look to a team like Sharper to finish in a very high position at the end of week 3.
Yeah, I think I would agree with you. I'm sort of putting them in that same basket as I would Day Trade. These two teams that have, for the most part, been very solid representatives for the Thai region alongside Buriram. To see Day Trade actually dropping a player, quite unfortunately, to Unicorn Phoenix. But yeah, I mean, Day Trade has a great opportunity as a roster, and so does Sharper. Both of these teams have the experience in PCS over the course of the last, 4 or 5 if you count for them. Maybe they can pull off something better than the 3rd place that they got in PCS1 and sort of go one better.
Ooh, Glorious with the knockdown onto Flash, unideal here for Day Trade. And I thought maybe for a second Flash was going to be able to make it to cover, but not to be. Insight from across the ditch is able to get that elimination. Sharper find themselves at a bowl just south of Power Grid. This will work for the time being. But of course, we'll see where do they go from here. Belmoth is just hugging behind a little bit to the west, so he's outside of the circle for now, but he's still close by with the team. And just we draw our attention up towards Archangel Predator and Colony. A little bit of a gatekeep here, Jordan. This could go really bad for Archangel Predator as things go bad for Sairayu.
Yeah, they're not having a great time at all, are they? They've lost Sunshine, Jexy getting that kill for Eagle 365. Colony and Archangel Predator also going toe-to-toe up on the northern side of the map. It arguably does favour Colony at the moment, with Archangel Predator being the team that has to push out of the zone. Already, the first kill goes the way of Alec as well. There's no way Evil Patrick will be getting picked up there. Meanwhile, Fury also in a bit of a stoush, have a little bit of a day trade. Carbs gets one, Momonji another. And the Colony are ripping Archangel Predator apart.
They certainly are hitting some really good shots, and suddenly Mad Dog's by himself. No real chance to remonstrate, find a trade, get one back. And Colony haven't lost a single player at all in this little exchange. The only downside here, no longer in the circle. Need to get a move on soon as well. 25 seconds until that blue gets moving. Oh, what a nade. What a nade onto Mad Dog. Doesn't quite get the elimination, therefore doesn't give the information either. Or maybe they already knew. Clearly they had an idea. Momonji will finish off Mad Dog, and that's Archangel Predator out in 14th position. And our lovely observers have gone back over to Sharper Esports here to sort of highlight their move. They have actually gone from the south to Power Grid, now sort of just to the west, outside of it. Is this the time for them to push into Power Grid and take on BN United?
Oh, well, I'm not sure that they're going to be too eager to do that, but I'm not sure how many options they really
do is at least pushes those Unicorn Phoenix players away from the vehicles, at least temporary. They're not able to capitalize off of it, but still, that's what Fury are very much known for, a lot of their nade usage. Now, Cow, unfortunately, gets caught running out into the open. Gems will happily oblige with the MK14, find that kill. Fury now down a player, great for attack all around, who, by the way, Jordan, hold a very significant portion of the south side of the circle, outside Power Grid. If I had to put my money on anyone right now, I'm thinking attack all around in a very good position, as we now draw our attention over towards Game Home, making their way out of San Martin, pushing up towards Cerberus Esports.
Yeah, they'll have to be aware as well of 36C down below them, but it shouldn't be enough to impact this fight at this point in time. Still, going against Cerberus is not the easiest of tasks, as we can start to see. Clory's having already dropped. Zone is pushing at their backs. 36C, I mean, again, continue to mention them starting to wrap down below that cliff, and Cerberus, obviously, have to keep a bit of an eye on them, and as well, Easy Esports, who are down there in that compound with a very nice feed headed in their direction. This fight actually up on the top of the hill for Cerberus could actually be quite a big one in the context of this game.
Yeah, and I think this also still benefits those teams down to the south, right? Attack all around, Fury both in good positions, because Fury down to 3 players. We know they're capable of, say, finishing off a game even with 3 at this portion. I mean, we're almost 20 minutes gone. Insight fine to knock on a gems too. It's 3007 for Game Home. He's the solo here. Deep the road, there's already teams like Easy Esports, 36 Cartel, to a degree Sharper, that are able to maybe sort of cut them off here. BN United actually going to get pushed here from Made in Thailand. Thanawat pushes up first. Duckman's Escalusia able to now come in from behind along with Jacob. Now, I think they actually have maybe caught BN United by surprise, because they were just getting ready to leave Power Grid. They've caught them perfectly here, Made in Thailand. You can see BN United kind of separated, not necessarily all close to each other. If someone gets knocked, they're probably going to die. For Made in Thailand, do have to be careful of these nades though, as they all grouped up together. They've both just been able to get away from that nade, but as you mentioned, that blue, it's doing a lot of damage. They back off. They're going to forfeit that fight. Full credit to BN United. The nades will push Made in Thailand away, and Sharper Esports might be able to maybe clean them up at some point.
Yeah, where is Made in Thailand going to go, though? That's the exact point, and you talked about it. Sharper Esports is here. Eagle 365 down on the road just to the north as well. It's not going to be a fun time for Made in Thailand. They're still not inside of the zone. Fair bit of work yet to be done for them. BN United on the move as well, starting to cop some shots from attack all around. This is where Miramar starts to break open a little bit.
Oh, they're in trouble. They're in a little bit of trouble here.
They didn't know Sharper Esports was over the hill, and they have been punished for it.
Sharper playing this position perfectly down to the ditch, and unfortunately, as you mentioned, Made in Thailand, I don't think had the game sense or the awareness that Sharper were in this position. Kind of, I guess, casually strolling over the defilade there and just get absolutely popped. Sharper have played this perfectly, and there's really no other teams close to them. I guess BN United to the south is one to keep an eye on at some point. Now, Thanawat's getting revived here from Duckman's, but the position that they're in, Jordan, I don't see a way forward here for Myth.
No, I don't think so. Duckman's and Thanawat, they're not going to have a good time. And even if they do manage to somehow get past Sharper, then, I mean, there's angles everywhere.
Yeah.
Headed in their direction from teams all over the place. Attack all around. BN United will be more than happy to oblige. So at this point in time, I guess it's more of a question for Sharper Esport of how can they ensure that they don't lose a player here. Because if they lose a player to these two remaining Made in Thailand lads, that's not good news at all. And obviously for Sharper, they're going to be wanting to avoid that. They're wanting to pick up a win here. And it's actually a very good opportunity for them. Not too many teams still having 4 players alive. The big names like Fury, only 3. Maybe now only 2 with Ronan getting knocked down there, and perhaps not many more than that, to be honest, because the grenades continue to fly in the direction of Flood and Inside. A bit too far for that one.
Where do they go,
cut their
though?
losses, but yeah, it's a good question.
Do they go center and just try and play the long game and hope that everyone outside of them just basically kills each other and then they just kind of pop up at the last second and find a win? They're capable of doing that. I know Flood more than anyone is probably able to do that. Trick, though, in a bit of a tricky position. Might spoil the party later on. Sharper, though, do eventually deal with that 2-man duo Made in Thailand. And Killer actually coming in there. That is so unfortunate for Trick because that now 110% away gives away his position. If Fury didn't know, now they definitely do. They'll flush him. They'll finish him. Now they got kind of center position inside of the circle. Even though there are only 2, there's a lot of teams on the absolute outer edge that are going to have to fight each other before they're even able to get to Fury. I think one just got knocked, is Insight. He is down at the moment. BN United have played a very defensive game. They've not really moved from power grid. They've not looked to really take any fights. The only time we've seen them is when they got pushed on. They held a pretty defensive approach, and then the team went away, which was Made in Thailand. Now they're going to move forward, though. What have they got? Because right now, Sharper are running around killing everyone. They've got the 4 kills.
Well, that has very much been the modus operandi for BN United in the seasons that we've seen them so far. Like, BN United, they never really wanted to fight early on in the piece.
I'm actually a little surprised they even made it into the top 8 here, considering the position across the road up north. But to their credit, able to get into the top 8 here. 7 teams left, Jordan, 21 alive. A pretty wounded lobby. There are still 2 teams with 4 players up. I think Easy actually as well, just picking up a revive now. So they will also have 4. So that's 3. Cerberus, Sharper, and Easy Esports.
Game's wide open for any one of those 3 teams if they can keep all 4 alive for the next. Unicorn Phoenix out of trouble because they got a lot of ground to cover.
Oh, that's a great nade. That is an absolutely perfect nade from that sort of distance with, say, little information really in front of them. JS does get knocked, so it's all up to Glooms here now for attack all around. He's basically in a 1 versus 3 in front of him. And no more nades, only the Molotov. So unfortunately, it just seems like he's up against it here. And the smoke not really going to be aiding him there either. Dat Blue ends up finding the 2 kills. What a great game so far once again for Unicorn Phoenix in terms of the kill department, Jordan. I think they're actually the lobby leaders right now. But here's Sharper Esports. This is where you expect them to clean up. Maybe Fury can also get involved. BN United finally on the move, but immediately as they do that, they lose their players early. Only Simon, who remained, is still alive. The rest of his team has already perished.
Yeah, you can bet your bottom dollar that if any team tries to breach Fury, they are going to be in for an unwelcome surprise.
Obviously for Phase 8.
Well, we'll see where the circle does end up shifting, and it's actually a relatively welcome shift for Sharper Esports and for Fury, and maybe even for Unicorn Phoenix here as well. I mean, Unicorn Phoenix will inevitably have to move, but if they can manage to find a way to dislodge Fury, they can get into that same bowl, and they might have a relative degree of safety until Cerberus decides to do something about it.
Sorry to cut you off there, Joel. I'm just trying to figure out how no one is able to see Fury from, say, the east side, like Cerberus, Easy. How do they just not have an angle here?
They just have a little bit of a dip to play in. Like, it's like almost like a little bowl. And there's also those smokes up, or there was those smokes up. So you can see that little bowl that they have to play with. So if they just keep their heads down, those guys on the eastern side don't really have much of an angle. I feel like actually really only Unicorn Phoenix that is a massive threat to Fury at this point in time. Cerberus has got bigger things to deal with, which is obviously Easy Esports. And Sharper, I think, even has an angle onto Cerberus if they start to move. So this 2v2 on the southern part of the map could almost decide second place.
The downside here for Fury more than anything, it's not necessarily a downside, it's just a bit of an annoyance. They can't necessarily push up, or at least I don't think they can. Because I think if they push up, Easy might be able to have an angle. Like, as Unicorn kind of start to push down, I wonder, do Easy start sort of firing shots from across the other side of the circle? May or may not happen. Flood does get the initial knock and kill onto Van. That was very quick. And now only Dat Blue remains. He's been having an amazing game, Jordan, but 7 kills out of 11. I think his time is coming to an end, though. And I think for Easy, they're on the move. So Fury, they're not even going to get bothered by Easy. I think at this point, Fury might be in the box seat here. Unless they get crashed by, say, Cerberus. I don't even know. Does Cerberus have vehicles? It doesn't look like
can't move.
No,
I don't think Cerberus can move. Yeah, they're cooked. Sharper Esport has an angle. Easy have made the initial move. So if anything, Cerberus is going to have to move in the direction of Easy, and there's going to be so many guns trained in their direction that I'm sure they don't do that safely. Sharper Esports still seems like the powerful team in this game, but Easy Esports is trying to make a run in to try and force them out of position, try and take some of those players down. Hasn't really worked out too kindly for them. Finally, a grenade lands on top of Tinoy, and there's some semblance of damage going back in the direction of Sharper. I've spoken too soon. Easy Esports, they're kind of making it look a bit easy. But once I've cast a curse them again. Fury comes in for the third party, and Sharper survives with 4 alive.
Back and forth, Jordan. That was, for a split second, I thought the demise of Sharper Esport, and they hold on. Maxon is playing a big role there as well, but a little bit of help from Fury. We saw Insight Flood both getting involved. And that actually helps out Sharper, which could maybe come back to bite Fury. So Owlsley ends up dying to the blue. It's now a 2 versus 4. They need to get a quick down to at least make it a 2 versus 3. Good tags from Insight. As Belmoth is tagged low, 6 sacks goes down, courtesy of Flood. This makes it very doable. Maximus and Tinoy, they're not exactly full health, and Fury definitely feeling it right now.
Yeah, they certainly are. I mean, if Insight gets that knock on the rotation across that big cross, then maybe there was a really good chance, but Flood is just doing it himself. He's a one-man army. 2 knocks, 2 kills. There's another one. Fury might win a 2-on-4.
Belmoth now in a 1 versus 2. How the tides have turned here. OCE winning game 1. Maybe on the verge of winning game 2 here as well. Belmoth surely up against the wall 3 times in the Groza, but Flood, Insight, they're cooking, and they've got him pinned down.
Oh, no.
No way.
He can't go
no
anywhere.
chance. No.
The blue is at his back. Xenox Belmoth, he's just going to hide. He's going to try and do what he can, but there is nowhere to go. Flood won't even take the risky peek. He's going to pop back up. 12-kill win for Fury. Waikika is pleased with it. He is in the backpack right now. But man, Fury, they continue the oceanic domination of PCS. APAC number 5. Can you believe it's on a